Hey guys, welcome to Tommy's Travel Forecast. I'm here with Meteorologist Freddy Vela. Thanks for being in the studio here today. And we're tracking some showers and storms because it's not a complete widespread, all hands on deck severe weather situation, but there is the chance for several days of showers and storms in the near future.
Yeah, we looked at what we can expect for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We saw the updates that were coming in. The models were kind of coming into agreement what to expect for Friday. While Friday itself doesn't look like it's going to be the end-all, be-all, it looks like we've actually seen kind of a regression of what we can see for Friday, more dry conditions. Now our eyes are going to shift and focus on Saturday going into Sunday, because obviously that's going to be the next main concern of what we could see as far as severe weather is concerned.
Yeah, so we have a very hit and miss setup today. It's conditional. Like Freddie said, it's not a lot. Clouds and radar right now. We're seeing overcast skies. And for 10 o'clock, the fact that we're seeing more cloud cover pretty much take up most, with the visible satellite coming in, most of central Texas. That's really going to limit any sort of storm fuel. There's still going to be storm fuel, but it looks like most of that activity is going to be North Texas, Dallas, Red River Valley, Oklahoma, Arkansas, up there.
Yeah, even this morning, we saw a few streamer showers that had picked up in Fayette County and
right
Lee
now
County,
too.
and we still have a few that are building up near near Hayes County. But again, just not a lot that's been building up. The models were kind of coming into agreement as we went throughout the day yesterday about what we could expect for Friday, and even as Chief Meteorologist Nick Bannon came in, one of the things we discussed was, should we lower those rain chances, just because we weren't seeing it really build. And as Tommy was mentioning before, a lot of the activity was north of us, getting into the Panhandle, getting into Oklahoma. That's where we were able to see a lot of those storms really build. And as we can tell, obviously we're just not seeing a lot build up here for today.
Yeah, yesterday we had some crazy storms that rolled in. The storm reports, there were confirmed tornadoes. Storm Chaser reported this one. And then we were watching, I put this in our weather chat. Right now there's just a few pockets of some rain, but Oklahoma's used to some daily morning thunderstorms. But they had some really strong supercell storms that developed, and there were some tornado signatures. There was tornado on the ground, and there was a lot of damage, and unfortunately I believe some fatalities. So it was not a good mix up there in the Central Plains. But here, not expecting any sort of tornadic storms. And our setup, again, is going to be different than what we've had these past few days. Today is that last day of this conditional hit and miss, where there's going to be a pop-up storm. We have around a 10 to 20% rain chance, highs in the 80s, but the Storm Prediction Center is in agreement with what we just said, where this is going to be more of North Texas. They got that level 2 out of 5. Parts of the big country, just south of the Panhandle, Dallas, Fort Worth, all the way up to Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, and one of the things that we have to realize is this is something that we see every year. As we get into severe weather season, it's one of those things where it's very much day by day. We have to continue watching it. Conditions can change on a dime. And even today, where we are still within the general thunderstorm category, I mean, we get enough of that lift. We get enough of that daytime heating out there. And one of those showers could become a thunderstorm, which could eventually become severe. But the thing that we're looking at is right now the conditions just aren't all there for it to really build up into something strong. But I'm not going to discount it completely. I'm going to say this is the time of year where we have to just be weather aware.
Just have to watch. I mean, there's going to be a dry line positioned out west. There's going to be that cold front that's on the way. So you got that drier air coming in off the Rockies. You got the moisture. And the position of the low, too, if it even just moves 15, 20, 30, 40 miles, we're talking about a different kind of setup here in Central Texas. Now, today, as I walk you through the morning, we got a few of these streamer showers, right?
Yeah.
Really not much. But with some clearing, notice there's the potential. This is why we have a 10 to 20%, dude. I'm going to say north of Austin, best bet. Williamson County north, but this is probably more toward Waco and Dallas. But a few little pop-up potential, I would say very low risk for a thunderstorm, but they could quickly turn severe in the right environment.
And that's what I was talking about. You get those. The models are still trying to kind of figure out, one, how much daytime heating are we going to get, and will it actually affect what we're seeing already with some of these showers? Will they become moderate? Will they become heavy? Now, you're obviously seeing it within this model. It's saying, well, if one does pop up, it's going to be in this one area compared to widespread, massive thunderstorms that come through.
Little dots.
Yeah, that's not what we're looking at here. So that's why I just say it's good to be weather aware at this point of the year.
Yeah, well said. I mean, Saturday and Sunday, a lot of activities. You covered it on Weekend Watch. Weekend Watch is one of Freddy's shows talking about weekend plans and the weather. And a lot of people are rescheduling because Saturday it looks a little more widespread with the front. Sunday, the benefits of the front, not severe most likely, just a general risk, and much cooler, highs in the 60s and 70s.
And I think it's that cooler condition. It's how much energy we actually use.
Not a lot, on Sunday.
And so I believe Sunday will then, and meteorologist Kristen Curry was talking about this morning too, was how much rain do we actually see on Saturday will affect our risks for Sunday, because our risks for Sunday are going to be completely different from what we see on Saturday.
It's another different kind of dynamic with the stalled front versus the arriving front versus the dry line storms. You kind of get everything. Storm Prediction Center, it's interesting because they're looking at today and they're backing off entirely, but tomorrow they're like full steam ahead. And we were talking before the mic turned on, is the 2 out of 5 going to pan out with a 2 out of 5 potential? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it going to be as strong as what they're saying? Especially when you look at the hail here, because with these front setups, typically with the front, it's the strong winds, it's the downpours. Hail is more supercells, so it might have a few discrete cells ahead of the front they're watching, but hatched, for the sake of not confusing people, we won't dive into the intensities, but egg-sized or larger for the striped yellow, which is all of the 15 counties we cover here.
Yeah, and you can even see it here. The tornado, they took it down to unlikely. No. Winds, we've already been having strong winds. That's nothing new. It's something we've already been dealing with. But the idea is that hail is going to be our biggest concern. Could be egg size, could be larger. And so that's what we're essentially seeing. And everyone is within this risk, essentially, of what we could see for Saturday. So just take those precautions now. Just already be prepared, just in case one of these does hit your area.
Yeah, that's right. And so this was the Storm Prediction Center. 2 out of 5. The big picture is you can pretty much trace with a little pencil where the front is and the impacts. Same thing, got the moisture and you got all that instability. So we have, an area we're watching and we just happen to be right in the middle of that area. Yeah. We'll have to see how it pans out. And this is our in-house computer model, which hasn't been the most consistent with these kinds of severe weather setups. It missed Wednesday entirely, so grain of salt here. When I put this on social media, a lot of people were like, well, that's nothing. It's undercompensating maybe some of the potential for some of these yellows and oranges to be much stronger. So through 4 o'clock, Austin, this clears through. And then on the back end, it has some dry line cells that try to get kicked up and working again toward the overnight hours.
And it's actually updated. And these things update frequently. Yeah. We were, just for the past few days, we were looking at, overnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. type of thing, where we could see, a massive cell kind of build up and push through. Now it's backing off of that. But obviously the concern is that really at this point, any of this could really build at any point. And it looks like there's more confidence in Saturday going into Sunday than there was for Friday even. So we're able to see it play out within this graph model.
Yeah, so our rainfall totals, and this is through Sunday. Sunday, a few rounds of some showers. And the 1 to 2, I would say right now, and we'll make some adjustments before our KXAN 11 to 1. The 1 to 2 is probably more for our eastern counties just because they're going to tap into that Gulf moisture and energy. Yeah. I'm really hoping for a good amount of rain, because if you don't get rain, and I think we will for the most part this weekend, Tuesday, Wednesday, also something to watch. Storm Prediction Center has a possible 15%, which, to put it simply, means we have to keep our eye on this setup through the middle half of next week.
Yeah, and you can even see it here played out. Even as we get into Monday, things tend to go a little drier, but then we have to watch for Tuesday and Wednesday. And with that front coming in Saturday into Sunday, it's going to essentially determine what leads up through Monday into Tuesday, right? We get cooler air that comes in. We get a lot of cloud coverage that comes in. There goes that daytime heating as we look into Monday, into Tuesday, into Wednesday. So everything can be affected as we go along over the next couple of days. But yeah, it's just something that we need to continue to watch.
All right, well, we'll close with this real quick because we got to get ready to hop on the airwaves here for you. Clouds and radar. So let's just quickly go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Monday, there's a little isolated shower and storm potential. It's going to be more Tuesday into Wednesday. And the European model's coming in a little slower than the GFS, but kind of same thing. There's going to be a low pressure. Low pressure is going to track east. You see the winds out of the south, and there's going to be some sort of area here in central Texas where there's going to be a Pacific front, and with that front, kind of a similar setup to Saturday. in terms of coverage of rain. And then by Thursday, 10% I have a rain chance, and then nothing really Friday. And beyond this week, man, it looks like we're going to be pretty much done for March. So obviously something can happen later on in the month. But in terms of like the near 1 to 2 week forecast, it's looking relatively dry besides this upcoming Tuesday, Wednesday. So if we can squeeze out, again, that 1 inch to 2 inch totals, we're going to be in a good setup to hopefully help combat some of the extreme drought conditions we've been dealing with.
Yeah, and you know, as we get into the month of March, into the month of April, the month of May, download that First Warning Weather app. Stay, you know, at least aware of what's going to be happening over the next few weeks, just because we could get a decent amount of rainfall that could come in. So, you know, this is the time.
All right, well, we have more on KXAN.com/weather. Great reminder to download our KXAN First Warning Weather app. We'll have updates through the weekend here. We'll see y'all later.